writers from Harare, and they go by the name Collabowriters. They have written a book, and the title of the book is Son to the Depths of Inyangani. So the book was commissioned by the British Council, working together with its different partners, as well as Multimedia Box. Two of the writers are actually based in Bulawayo. The book will be launched on the 11th of this month in Bulawayo. The two writers are Banabas Karuma and Lindiwe Dhlamini. Lindiwe and Banabas, welcome to the program, The Dialogue.
Thank you for having us, Ishmael.
Thank you.
Right, I would like to know, who are these writers in short? I'll start with the lady, Lindiwe. Who are you?
Well, I'm Lindiwe. I have a background in film and media production, where I specialize in screenwriting. So you can see that writing is just my passion. Everything I do, I've been writing since I was little.
Do you have any publications before this particular project that you have written?
I have a few stories out, but no novel publication out yet. But there's one coming out soon.
And you, Banabas? Who are you?
Well, I don't have a career in writing, but then I was trained as an engineer, but then I decided to write because I was passionate about it, and I really wanted to inspire people and to move people. That's basically it. I want to move people with my work.
How did you move from being an engineer to becoming a writer? What was the motivation?
Well, the motivation, I guess I would say that I wanted to give my life purpose. I guess I would say that. I was working a regular job, and sometimes you feel like a cog in a machine, and you feel like you may have a greater purpose. So that is what I felt at the time. So I'd always been inspired by fiction, because fiction allows me to feel emotions that I don't usually feel in real life. And in a way, it made me feel more alive than my regular day-to-day. So I wanted to break that routine, and I decided that I would write a book.
This is your first project?
This is not my first project. I've written 2 books. One is a sci-fi thriller, which I'm planning on publishing in June. And then the other one is a YA fantasy, which is based on Zimbabwean folklore, kind of the same genre as our Collabowriters book. And that one was accepted by a traditional publisher. I've not signed any contracts yet, so that's all I can share.
How did you two get involved in this project, Collabowriters?
There was a call for entries. I saw the call online. And so you apply by writing a story, and then you send it to them, and then if they like it, then they'll pick you. They picked 4 out of several across the country. Yeah.
Was it the same with you, Banabas?
Yes, it was the same. It was kind of like a competition where you're supposed to submit. It was just a 250-word entry, and that was it. And we're selected from over 250 people, I think.
Yeah.
4 writers writing 1 book. How does that work?
It's the method we used was relay authoring. So each one of us wrote 2 chapters. So you'd write your chapter, pass it on to the next person, who would then pass it on to the next person until it came back to you. So that's how it worked. And obviously you decide on the general loose storyline to begin with. And then, yes.
You want to add to that, Banabas?
I think she's basically explained what it was. We discussed a basic plot, and then from there, the first writer had read the first chapter and then pass it to the second writer. So the second writer had read the first chapter and then go on, and it was like a relay. But then it was supposed to be one continuous story, which made sense.
The title, Son to the Depths of Inyangani, what does it mean?
You can answer that.
Okay, without giving away too much information, when we say sworn to the depths, we're talking about, in a way, we're talking about the protagonist's journey. That he started off a normal college kid, but then he was thrust into this life which was unfamiliar to him, and in a way he had become pledged to it. So the setting is Inyangani. So I think that's what I can share.
Yeah, and it's a story surrounding the whole myth of Inyangani, how if you curse on the mountain or the fruits of the trees on the mountain, you disappear. So that's where we got our inspiration from.
So it sounds like you say this is a work of fiction, but it's also based on a true story, because what people say about Inyangani mountains, some have actually experienced those things. So your story is based on the truth, is it?
I think it's based on the myth, because I don't know anyone who's disappeared, so I can't say it's true. But we know that the myth is there. And we've seen in the papers reports of people having disappeared, where there could be like a scientific explanation, but it could really be something crazy happening. So I don't think we can claim that it's based on a true story, but we can claim that it's based on the myth
surrounding that area.
Yeah.
And for this information, where did you get did you actually travel to the area or interview some people who know about the myths surrounding Inyangani?
Well, I have been to Inyangani many times. I used to go there nearly every holiday with my family. So I'm quite familiar with the myth and what people in the area say. This time around, we didn't travel. I think we dug from our past experiences and the reports we'd seen in the media and word of mouth.
Yep, and the rest was the power of the internet and creativity.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And the book has been completed. Are you happy with the end product? Does it tell the story the way you would want it to sound, since you are 4 people writing about this place?
That's a great question. I think we are generally happy with the end product. When you're collaborating with people, you have to realize that things are not going to be exactly how you want it. But that's the beauty of collaboration, because you can make it 4 times as stronger than if it was just you. So we are happy. Given more time, maybe a year, we could have obviously done a longer, more in-depth story. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what do you plan on doing with this book? You're going to sell it? Is it going to be used by colleges and schools? Or what is the plan about the book?
Well, first and foremost, we're going to give the story to the world so everyone can read it. As the writers, we've written it, but rights, I think, remain with Multimedia Box. So they may choose to sell it, they may choose to give it away as a story, and hopefully maybe it makes a huge impact and it is used in schools. We don't know.
But generally, who is the book for? Who is the book written for?
Well, I think the book, it's mostly, I wouldn't want to give a specific age range, but then I would think the age range which was chosen for the writers more or less suits the age range for the readers. We're looking at something between 18 to 35. That is what we're looking for. But then if you're just interested in mystery, if you're interested in a little bit of adventure, I think you can read the book. Yeah,
because a good story knows no age.
Yeah, it knows no age.
What will happen during the launch?
So the launch is going to be pretty simple. It's in Bulawayo at the British Council there. There's going to be a short artistic performance, sort of an interpretation of the story. So there'll be a poet and then some background dancers. And then after which, us, the 4 writers, will be asked questions and allowed to give our thoughts on how the process was.
Let's talk about Zimbabwe's reading culture. Many have bemoaned the lack or the absence of a reading culture in Zimbabwe, as it were. What are your thoughts on that?
I wouldn't want to give a definitive answer because I don't have the statistics. But I'm just working on supposition based on what I have personally experienced. I think a lot of Zimbabweans, they value reading mostly when they are in school, when it's for academic purposes.
Yeah.
We basically read to pass exams.
So we'll be reading textbooks instead of novels.
Yeah, mostly people read textbooks, and there are very few locally published books on fiction, which are not specifically literary fiction for literature.
That's true.
So I think we need to promote reading. We need to create this industry. And if we can do it, then I think we should do it. I think that is something that is worth doing.
That's
Instead of
true.
just, why should we rely on George R. R. Martin or any other international or foreign writer to entertain us when we've got our own personal stories?
I think it starts with the parents as well, because I was lucky enough to have a father who was in the arts. Well, he was a lawyer and an artist before that. So it was mandatory for me and my sisters to be taken to the library every week to read a work of fiction, and then we had to write about the book we had read. But upon asking around, my friends say that they were shouted at when they were reading a novel because their parents would say, put that away and study real subjects. So I think it needs to change. And I think the problem is that Zimbabwe's storytelling is mostly oral. So, that's you're listening to a story around the fire. So writing is not something that people trust yet as a source of entertainment.
Do you think that technology and the internet have something to do with a drop in readership in Zimbabwe? Because why I'm asking this question is, during the time when I was at school, high school, we used to rely mostly on novels because there was no internet.
No other internet.
Yeah. So you couldn't we didn't have cell phones or WhatsApp and all those kind of things. So we relied for entertainment entirely on reading novels. And during that time again, in the, let's say, early 80s, into the 90s, a bit of them, early 90s, you would see it was common to see people traveling on the bus or the commuter omnibus reading a big, thick volume. But now I don't think that is not happening anymore. What happened?
I guess it's yes and no.
It's a lot of supposition, because I think with technology, even reading books has been made easier, because now we've got ebooks. You can just download a book of Amazon onto your phone, onto your tablet, onto your computer, and you can just start reading the book. Or you can get audiobooks where you can listen to the book if you don't want to strain your eyes. So I think technology has actually helped people have more access to books. Because you said to yourself, we've got the internet, but then it's right there, it's just a few clicks away, you can get a book.
But that's true. But I think in the world around, yes, it's been easier to read books. But in Zim, where it has to be more than 50% of Zimbabweans do not have access to the internet or a phone where you can read a book off of. So we really are more of the physical copy book. But I think now the phones and technology could be a distraction towards reading because they're used for other things. So on the bus, you're probably on WhatsApp on your phone instead of reading the book. So it's yes and no, because in some countries and globally in general, books have been made easier, like you're saying. But in Zim, we're not there yet.
All right, thank you. We are fast running out of time. What would be your last words?
Just to encourage families to encourage their young children to read and write fiction. If your child is making up worlds that you've not heard of, please don't dismiss it as nonsense. It's their creativity, and the arts are fast on the rise. Maybe not now in this economy in Zimbabwe, but they're going to be what holds this country together.
Banabas?
And I would like to say that we should let go of this notion that fiction is simply for entertainment and simply for wasting our time or whiling time until we do something important, because really good fiction does teach us about life. It teaches us about the world, and I think we should look at it from that perspective, because with every single good story, there are points to be made. And we're actually teaching people